Hi. Hi, my name's Rebecca, where I go by Bex. Um, I just I just tried to sculpt my nose with highlighter and I'm not sure it worked. That's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say I just went live on Instagram to share about a recent depressive episode that I'd had. And it didn't save. And as I was sharing, I realized the importance of the message that I was sharing and how helpful it could be for some people and how much it needs to be talked about. And so I wanted to come to a more reliable source and record this for posterity. And so people could get this information and share this information. Because depression is something that is a little bit taboo. Nobody likes to talk about it. It's not a fun subject. And when you're in a depressive episode, you really don't want to hear about it, how to get better. Like depression is it's just a shitty thing, isn't it? It feels like a shitty thing. So I am a coach. I am a mental health coach. I work for a mental health and wellness company. Um, I coach a lot with we use CBT tactics, we use acceptance therapy. I have built a ton of tools and knowledge, and I have a ton of resources for navigating depression and um, taking care of your mental health. And I'm also a desire, like I coach people on how to connect to their desires and their creativity and their life purpose. And all that said and done, I have depressive episodes. I always have, throughout my life, throughout different periods of my life. And I just wanted to come on here and normalize that even me with all the tools, and I'm in this mental health world and all the resources, like I still have depressive episodes because and I want to share with you why these different tools that I'm going to tell you about can be can be the difference between life and death when you're in a depressive episode. Because we can't necessarily avoid a depressive cycle. I mean, there's lots of factors that play into why someone gets depressed, right? Depression is not a thing, an emotion. Depression is an experience. There's a lot happening when someone is depressed. It might look like not being able to get out of bed, to like having really, really dark thoughts and being, in a really dangerous space. It might look like, checking out from life and, eating and drinking and watching TV and never being fully present. It might look like this. Hey everybody, how you doing? Highly functioning depressive people. That's my experience of it, where you wake up in the morning and you don't want to get out of bed and you don't want to take a shower and you don't see the point in anything anymore and you don't want to talk to people and you just feel like you hate who you're being in that moment and you just feel heavy and you want to get out of it but you don't know how, and you just like, it feels like hopelessness, it feels like despair, but you're highly functioning enough, you're able to get up, go to work, make it seem like everything's fine. I remember, I'm just coming out of a depressive cycle and I go through them. So I know I can talk about this in the past, and knowing that not like I've conquered depression and I can tell you how to not be depressed. That's not a thing. But what I can share with you is how I navigated it and how that was such a different experience than when I didn't have the tools that I'm going to share with you. And so yeah, depression is a very nuanced thing, and like, so many factors play into it. For me personally, the cycle I just went through I had gone through some huge life transitions. I'd moved out of the house that I'd raised my kids in and been in for years, and moved into a smaller place with my significant other who I love and adore. But it was a big change going from suburban home where all my kids could be and stay, and, where I was mom, to then moving into the city, into an apartment where it's just the two of us and I don't even have space for my kids to come stay overnight. Like, that was a big grief that I didn't even realize I was feeling. Um, Hormones. I'm at that age where my hormones are starting to get all jacked up. I'm in the city, so, the air is really crappy and I'm not getting outside as much and I'm not connecting to nature, and I'm on high alert all the time because we are in an urban environment and you can't just walk outside and just be, you got to be on high alert all the time, like danger. And that's hard on your nervous system. And then my father passed away. And navigating the the world of grief, and grieving a relationship you wish you'd had, and then also grieving a relationship that the father, I could go on and on and on. There are lots of things that factored into me ending up in a depressive cycle. And what that looked like was I didn't have any desire to do anything creative. I could literally watch reality TV from morning till evening and be okay with that. I mean, it sucked, but like, when I'm not in a depressive cycle, I could never tolerate sitting still and just numbing out for that long. I was shocked. I was tired all the time. I couldn't get enough sleep. I didn't want to see anybody. My job was just like a sludge. Like, I show up to coach other people and I'm able to because of the skills that I have, the tools that I have. But it was hard. It's hard. It can get really hard. It's partly what pulls me through. So there's that, but it's hard. I wasn't moving my body in the way that I like to. I know when you're depressed, the things that are going to make you feel better. And sometimes, like, just the thought of doing them, just like you feel your whole body just like fill with concrete, and you're just like, like, it's the worst. It's the worst. And I had a few days in there where I started to observe some really dark thoughts. Really, really dark thoughts. I mean, that's part of depression too. You're having hopeless, dark thoughts. Like, what's the point of this? I just suck. Like, I don't want to be like this around people, and they're going to be better off if I'm not there. And, um, I'm a burden, and like, you feel ashamed for who you're being. And that, I forgot what I was talking about. There's so much to say about depression. Oh, and that shame, it leads to some isolation. And I observed some pretty dark thoughts moving through my mind. Because of the tools I have, I was able to observe them, and I didn't feel in danger of hurting myself. But if you don't have these tools that I'm going to talk about, very easily could you get entangled in those thoughts, and those thoughts become your reality. That's like, life has no meaning. What's the point? I bring no value to anyone or anything. And like, you're so self-absorbed in your own pain, and you hate yourself so much for being so self-absorbed. So you're self-absorbed. All you can think about is, how do I medicate or get out of or feel better? And then you feel so ashamed for being so selfish. It's just this shit storm, right? And you see the impact you're having on the people around you, and that's really hard, because you feel so guilty about that, and you just want to be yourself, and you just hate the experience that you're having. So that's how you know what depression's like from my experience. It's different for everybody. And here's why I'm here. I'm not here just to lament and talk about, depression. There's so much I've studied about depression. There's so much I understand about depression. I call it a dance with depression now, because I think depression is so rich and full of information about you and your life and your experience. And if we slow down and we change our relationship to depression, there's a lot of of beauty and wisdom in your experience of depression that can lead you into a more fulfilling life, a more values driven life, a more connected life. Like depression, if you slow down and listen to it, it will tell you what you need. Maybe you need to pay attention to your health. Maybe you need to slow down and feel some painful emotions and allow them instead of suppressing them. Maybe you need to make peace with the past. Maybe you need more support. Maybe you need to be doing something entirely different with your life. Maybe you need to change the situation you're in. Depression has a message for you. But if you don't have the tools to understand you're in depression and to separate yourself from it a little bit, it can be really hard to get the message. And all of a sudden, your reality becomes depression and you become depression. And it feels like this is your world and this is the world and it's never going to change. And that's the biggest tool. So I'm going to share a couple things with you now, but the number one tool, and this is a coaching tool that I've learned, and it's a coaching tool that I teach, and this is how I help my clients, and it seems so simple, and you've probably heard of it, but the first and most powerful tool for navigating depression is mindful awareness, which in this sense, and how I'm talking about it, mindful awareness is noticing, slowing down, stepping back and observing my thoughts, observing them. I'm watching. I'm becoming conscious of what are the thoughts in my head. I'm we're on autopilot all the time. We're just moving. We don't even know what we're thinking half the time. We're just doing. Mindful awareness is like, oh, what am I thinking? Oh, I'm thinking like the world is shit and we're all fucked and there's no point. Okay. I see that thought. What am I feeling? Just like despair and hopelessness. And like sometimes I'm not feeling anything. Okay. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you doing? Well, I'm laying here watching Real Wives of Orange County or Beverly Hills. I binged a whole fucking Real Wives season. I knew it was bad. I knew the depression was bad when I was like able to watch an entire, not season, an entire series. You do things in depression that just like add to your depression. That's part of it. You're like stuck in the sludge and you just keep like your effort to crawl out often makes it worse. But anyways, mindful awareness, being able to, it wasn't pleasant. It felt awful. It felt like it was going to be forever. I honestly didn't know when and how I would come out of this one. But I had the awareness, the consciousness to know and to understand and to orient. I'm in a depressive state. I'm in a depression. I am having depressive thoughts, hopeless thoughts. I am feeling depression feelings. I'm feeling sadness or fear or, anxiety, all the things that go along with it. I am observing myself having this depressive episode. So see how I'm just a little bit removed. Doesn't always feel like you're removed. Most of the time you're right smack in it. Most of the time you are the experience. But that's why mindful awareness, a tool you build in the calm times, is what we work on, is the tool that's going to help you when the shit hits the fan, when the storm comes. You're watching without judgment, without needing to change. You're just stepping back and noticing where you are and what's happening. That tool alone let me know that when those dark thoughts were in my mind, and I had changed the medication too, so I think that was happening. That tool let me know. So I could say, I'm having thoughts like, I'm observing thoughts in my head like, You you would be so much happier if you just didn't wake up. Like, wouldn't it be, it would just be so much better if a meteor hit the earth. Like, you really don't bring any value to your relationships. People would be better off without you. Like, I know that that's not true. We know those thoughts aren't true, right? But when you're having the experience of those thoughts, they feel they can feel like truth. And the mindful awareness piece is what separates you from believing that that thought is truth. The thoughts still going through your mind, you still need to get help. You still need to bring it into the light. You still need to get support. Don't go through this alone. Get professional support. And if the thoughts are pervasive and invasive, get immediate professional help. Like, don't fuck around with this stuff. But I know myself. I know the tools that I have cultivated, the self-compassion I've cultivated, the awareness I've cultivated, the understanding of myself, my life, my purpose, I've done a lot of work. The work I've done has not made me not ever feel and be depressed. That's just not realistic. That's not me. I live in a human body that's going to have depressive episodes. I feel things deeply. I see things deeply. I think about things that can be really depressing, like the state of the world. Like, I have creative longings. I have deep desires. Like, those are all a recipe for having depressive episodes. So I just know that I'm someone who is going, if everything's not moving along like perfect, I get knocked off. And I know that I'm going to take some time to get back up. I just know that about myself. But because I built these tools, I can move through those cycles. I don't always know how long they're going to last. And they that can feel scary. I'm like, I don't know how I'm getting out of this one this time. This is really shitty. I'm trying all the things and they're not working. But I'm even observing that. I'm observing myself feeling afraid that it's never going to end. But because of my mindful awareness, because of my consciousness, because of my relationship with myself, my relationship with depression, my relationship with my emotions, I know that the experience I'm having is temporal. I know I can go in my mind and know this is a depressive cycle. This passes. The more I tried to feel better and get myself out of it, the worse I got. So I'm not going to sit here and give you a bunch of tools. Here's the XYZ to stop feeling depressed, because they're not going to do shit for you. I'm sorry. Yes, get sun. Yes, eat healthy. Yes, go see people. Like, yes, share what's happening for you. Yes, still shower and, try to eat healthy and try to move your body, even though you don't feel like it. Those things are all really good things to do. But if you're like me, you know what you're supposed to be doing, and the fact that you're not doing them even makes you just feel more like shit, right? Like, I know what I'm supposed to do. What the fuck is wrong with me that I won't just do it? But I know now I can label this. I can go, for whatever reason, well, I can kind of pinpoint a lot of reasons, but I'm in a depressive cycle and it's dark. This one's dark. This one got dark, you guys. Super dark. But I knew this isn't me. This isn't me. I'm not depressed. I'm not hopeless. I feel hopeless right now because I'm having some pretty shitty thoughts. But this time, the only thing I could do was stop fighting it and just be where I was and just be really intimate and accept I am in a depressive cycle. And the more I fight against it, the more I'm trying to get out of it, the worse it's getting. Now that I'm thinking about it, the minute I did that and I kind of wrote out the thoughts that were in my head and I just stopped fighting. I think that's when I started to turn the corner. So maybe at some point I'll be able to look back with a little more hindsight and say, okay, here I can see the journey out more clearly. I'm talking right now to you about the journey in depression and how to navigate it better. Because you can't always just get out of it. And sometimes the more you try, the worse it is. So how are you going to be in it? How are you going to love yourself in it? How are you going to not make it worse than it already is by shaming yourself or judging yourself or over identifying with thoughts and feelings, becoming the dark thoughts, becoming the hopeless feelings? Mindful awareness, self-compassion, building a relationship with your emotions, those are all about separating yourself from all of this information you're getting. Having thoughts coming in, you're having images come in, you're having environmental factors come in, you're having emotions arise, you're having all this like information, and it's setting off all kinds of things. Mindful awareness is like, okay, but I'm the consciousness, I'm the being experiencing this. I don't like it. I'd love for it to go away, but I'm not lost in it. I'm watching it happen. Well, I mean, we're more than watching it, right? You're feeling the feelings, you're thinking the thoughts, but you're also aware that it's not you. Guys, this is why I say it could be the matter. I'm saying this wrong. Could be the difference between life and death for some people. Because it's when we believe those thoughts and then we start fighting those thoughts and then we start getting afraid of those thoughts and then we start, building on those thoughts and we just get consumed with the dark thoughts and we become the dark thoughts. That's when we do some pretty scary shit, right? And again, if you are in that space, this is not what you need right now. You need to go see a professional. You need to make sure you're safe. 100%, please hear me say that. What I'm talking about now is something we work on when you're not in the cycle. This is something I can help you with. You can research and build yourself. Like, you can get a coach like me to help you, or there's tons of resources. Mindful awareness. How do you learn to practice it? Learn it in the time when you're not in the storm, when you're not in the forest, so that when you're in it, you have the tool. It's kind of like a flashlight. So the dark forest was just a little less scary. So I was like, I can't see my way out, but I know I'm going to get out. I know this isn't going to last forever. Feels like it. I'm saying to my partner, I can't get out of this one. I don't know the way out. And I'm just like, ah. But I know, Rebecca, you're walking through something. Slow down. What's going on? Slow down. What is this here to tell you? What is this here to invite you into? What is this here to remind you of? I'd lost connection with the things that I love. I'd lost connection with my own purpose. I was navigating grief and I didn't know, and I still don't, I'm grieving my father, but I also didn't have just, the best relationship. And so I'm grieving that, it's just like, there was a lot, and just like slowing down and meeting yourself with self-compassion, not shaming yourself for being depressed. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not weak. You're not seeking attention. You're not indulging. You may be doing things that are making it worse. I certainly do at times, where I'm just like, fuck this. I'm just going to eat crap and watch crap and lay here and do nothing. That does not help depression. But sometimes that's what you do. But you don't shame yourself. You may notice, that kind of made it worse. Maybe today I'll just take a walk. I'll put some clothes on. I feel a little better. Okay, that might be a better way to respond. Okay, good information to have. Mindful awareness, know you're in it, observe yourself without judgment, observe the experience of depression, observe it. You're in it. You're just in it. You're just in it. It just is. So, since I'm here, what's going on in me? Like, what is this here to show me about me and about my deepest needs and longings and desires? Depression will speak to you. It will show you. I can help you. You're not alone in this. I can totally help you. I coach my clients through this kind of stuff. I can coach in a depression because even though I'm experiencing it, I also have the knowledge and the awareness and the truth. Like, that's the power of mindful awareness. That's the power of understanding yourself. That's the power of being intimate with yourself, intimately knowing yourself, and intimately and loving yourself with compassion and acceptance and that unconditional. Yeah, I wish you were someone who was more cheerful and more productive, but you're not. Me. I'm talking to me. I'm not right now. Okay. I'm not. These tools are powerful, you guys. So if you're in a depressive state, you might just be able to hear this right now, and you might tuck it away and come back to it once it's passed. It's hard to pick up and learn a tool when you're in a depressive state. It just is. It just is. You just want to lay in bed and you want the world to go away. But that's temporary. That will lift. It will lift. You may need to get outside support. You do need to get outside support. You don't need to do this alone, even though you want to be alone. I had a coach friend reach out to me. She just saw it in me, a coach in my cohort. She just saw, Rebecca, something's off with you. Like, have you been okay? Because I was showing up at work and showing up, with the, hey, she could tell. And just her seeing that in me, I felt so supported and so seen. Like, you need people like that in your life. And then she said the most beautiful thing. She said, do you want to talk? She said, I will not be offended if it's a no, because I understand depression. That was the most amazing thing to hear. I'm here for you, but I don't need to fix you. I don't need you. The people in pleaser in me wants to get on the phone with her to make her, to say thank you for her care, if you know, but her just completely offering and understanding and no expectations, no attachment, just hey, I am 100% here, and I also am here if you don't want to talk. And I didn't. You don't want to talk when you're depressed. You really don't. You don't like what you're bringing to the table. So there's a lot of shame in it, but you love yourself in that. You observe it. You find people that you do trust. I had a few key people that I could say how I was feeling, and my partner, he's amazing. It was hard. It was hard for him. It's hard. It's hard watching someone go through depression. It's hard being a partner to someone going through depression. That's probably maybe that's another video I can do, because there's things there too to help. It's hard for everybody involved, but you need people who can say, I'm with you. I love you. I don't need anything from you right now. I know we're going to get through this. Where you are is okay. It's okay. I can be okay with you in this space. I can still be okay. That's really key. So, professional support, clinical support, coaching support. I would love to support you through this if coaching would be appropriate versus some other kind of therapy, which could be the case. Depression is nuanced, it can be clinical, in which case you need professional help, but sometimes it's just being human. And there are some powerful tools you can learn to navigate this in a safe and loving way. Can't make depression go away. Can't tell you, oh, I'm going to give you the tools to not feel depressed. Some coaches will say that. I'm talking to the people who have the experience of depression kind of programmed into their DNA. There's a lot of work we can do to reprogram and to alleviate and to pull you out of it quicker. And there's all kinds of healing work we can do. But I'm talking to the people who know they should do XYZ, and yet depression just kicks your ass. So that's me. And I have no shame saying I'm also a mental health expert. I'm a life coach. I help people with this shit. And I live it. I live it. I live it for reals. So it I when I start talking, I feel like I could just keep talking, which so surprises me because I hate talking to people. Not you. I hate like having conversations, not because I hate the person, because I have so much social anxiety too. Wow, I'm a fucking mess. All right, but I love you and I feel for you, and I just want to lift the heaviness of you shouldn't be depressed. There's something wrong with you. I just want to take that layer away. I just want to take that layer away. You're where you are, period. There's something here for you. When it's done, when you're done with the depression, when it's done with you, when you've received its message, it will lift, right? But learn how to dance with it so that you can survive it. So that you can survive it, right? Because it's a fucking, you know, reach out to me. I would love to hear your experience. I'd love to hear from you. You can find me on socials. Bex Stark. Bex_Stark is my Instagram. Rebecca Stark Thornberry is my Facebook. Maybe there's a link on this YouTube channel. I haven't done a YouTube video in a long time, so I'll have to go back and see what's up with that channel. But this felt really important to get out, and this was the quickest, easiest way. There's a lot. There is too much to write, and it's too long for a live. And if you're still with me, thanks for hanging out. I'm rambling, and I love you, and I'm here for you, and you're not alone. You're not alone, and you're not crazy. And it's temporary. You're gonna come out. It's gonna be okay. Love you.